and even villains. Whether they love him, respect him, or straight up hate him, everyone has something to say about Deku. So, without further ado, let's get started with what everyone from Class 1A thinks of their heroic classmate. Starting with Shoto Todoroki. Shoto initially saw Izuku as a rival due to his connection with All Might, but he gradually grew to respect and appreciate him. After Izuku helped him confront his dark past during the UA Sports Festival, they formed a deep friendship. Shoto admires Izuku's kindness and determination, with Shoto often supporting Izuku both in battles and emotionally. Shoto also said that he's someone who reaches out to others, even when he's struggling himself. Next, we have the class president Tenya Ida, who initially saw Izuku as a distraction and potential hindrance, but after witnessing Izuku's selflessness during the entrance exam, his opinion changed. He came to respect Izuku's bravery and later apologized for his earlier judgment. Over time, they developed a strong friendship, although he sometimes gets frustrated with Deku's recklessness. Despite this, Tenya admires Izuku's determination, even comparing him to his own heroic brother, and they consistently support each other, striving to become better heroes together. Tsuyu Asui respects and admires Izuku as she thinks he's a very hardworking person, saying that every day he does his best for the purpose of becoming a hero. She does, however, have to correct his shyness about calling her by her first name as she sees him as a close friend. She cares for him, worries about his safety, and encourages him to rely on his friends instead of carrying burdens alone. Just like Asui, Fumikage Tokoyami admires Izuku's decision-making skills and his willingness to help. Their friendship is built on mutual respect, with Tokoyami valuing Izuku's strength and acknowledging how he's helped him grow stronger. Now let's talk about Ochako Uraraka, who said that, "When I see Deku, he makes me want to do better." Not only does she admire his tenacity and perseverance, we also find out in the final war arc that Ochako is in fact in love with Izuku, as she declared her feelings to Himiko Toga in their emotional battle. Ochako supports Izuku emotionally and defends him when others criticize him. She admires his kindness, bravery, and selflessness, also saying that he always helps people without thinking of himself. Mina Ashido has a playful and supportive attitude toward Izuku. Though they don't often interact, she respects him and enjoys teasing him. Ashido also supports his budding romance with Ochako, but she said that she thinks Izuku is an all-might otaku. Overall, she values their friendship as classmates. Eijiro Kirishima finds Izuku manly. He admires Izuku's willingness to throw himself into battle even when he's scared or uncertain, saying that Midoriya's got guts. He's always rushing in to save people. Someone who had a complex view of Izuku was Yuga Aoyama. Initially, he sees Izuku as someone who lacks skill and uses him as bait during the entrance exams. However, as they become classmates, Aoyama's perspective shifts, and he grows to admire Izuku's powerful quirk and determination. And eventually, Aoyama saw himself in Izuku, as he also wasn't able to control his quirk, but now he's gotten so strong. So Aoyama wanted to be his friend. However, as we know, Aoyama was the traitor. But he was touched by Izuku's unwavering belief in him and their shared struggles with their quirks. Ultimately, Aoyama deeply appreciates Izuku's support and kindness, which fosters a genuine friendship between them. The next character is someone who isn't very complex at all, Minoru Mineta. Mineta admires Deku for his heroism, quick thinking, and determination, despite initially being skeptical of his abilities. Although they have grown to be friends, Mineta gets very jealous over the attention Izuku receives from the other girls in class, saying that it's unfair. And I understand why he thinks it's unfair. With that cool costume, I can't figure out why Mineta doesn't get any girls. Someone who also gets jealous about the attention Izuku gets from girls is Denki Kaminari. Although he gets jealous, he also sees him as a diligent and hardworking friend. Kaminari has expressed that their bond is important despite their differences, but he also said that he is way too intense sometimes. Mashirao Ojiro has a supportive and caring view of Izuku. He gets along well with him and often expresses concern for his well-being. Ojiro admires Izuku's growth and resilience and stands up for him, showing a deep sense of camaraderie. Meizo Shoji thinks highly of Izuku's compassion and teamwork, saying that Midoriya has a strong heart. He always cares about his friends and does everything he can to protect them. Hanta Sero sees Izuku as a dependable friend and teammate. Hanta also admires how Izuku never gives up, and he was very happy when Izuku asked him for help with his Black Whip quirk. Now let's talk about Kyoka Jiro. Kyoka and Izuku have developed a mutual respect and budding friendship, and she appreciates how Izuku is always trying to do the right thing, but she finds his intensity a bit overwhelming sometimes. saying that Midoriya is always giving 110% out every once in a while. Momo Yaoyorozu respects Izuku for his leadership skills and sees him as a friend. Although their partnership as class reps was short-lived, she admires his determination and ingenuity. Toru Hagakura, childhood bully, who has a complicated relationship with him. In the beginning, he saw Izuku as weak, even coming up with the nickname Deku, which has the meaning useless person or good for nothing. And this is why Bakugo at first hated Izuku, as we see during the river scene. Izuku wanted to help him, but when he reached a hand, Bakugo saw it as he was beneath him, and Bakugo has always been told that he is the best and strongest, and that he isn't beneath anyone, which is why he started to hate Izuku. But over time, their relationship evolves, and even though Bakugo struggles with Izuku's growth and power, he eventually acknowledges him as a true rival, apologizes for his past bullying, and even risks his life to protect him. He also explained to him and said that, "Every day I was made to feel how strong you were and how weak I was." Later, their bond deepens even further, becoming a fierce yet supportive friendship. So, right now, Bakugo sees Izuku as his closest friend. We've now covered what everyone from Class 1A thinks of Deku, but what do the other heroes, teachers, and classes think of Izuku? Well, let's start with Nato Monoma. Monoma initially views Izuku with resentment and envy, often targeting him with taunts and mockery due to his feelings towards Class 1A. He considers Izuku a main character, and himself a side character, reflecting his belief that he's overshadowed by Izuku's popularity and achievements. But during the final war arc, Monoma acknowledges Izuku's strength, and how hard he's fighting for everyone. Monoma's classmate Itsuka Kendo thinks that Izuku has crazy field tactics and that he fights ruthlessly. However, she said that when she sees him at school, in the corridors, or the cafeteria, his image is very different from that of a cool and strong hero. And I can absolutely understand why. Let's continue with people from UA and let's talk about Hitoshi Shinso. Shinso initially views Izuku with hostility, especially during their first encounter in the sports festival. However, after their Baku's willingness to help him pursue his goal of joining the hero course. The genius Mei Hatsume sees Izuku as a valuable ally and a source of inspiration for her inventions. Initially drawn to him for his success in the sports festival, she appreciates his shared enthusiasm for heroism and his openness to her ideas. Despite her habit of invading his personal space, she respects his talent and is eager to support him with her gadgets, ultimately forging a close and collaborative relationship. Now let's talk about one of the upperclassmen of UA, and that is of course Mirio Togata. Mirio holds Izuku in high regard, and he was impressed by Izuku's battle IQ when Mirio fought all of Class 1A. Mirio recognizes Izuku's potential as a hero, and eagerly offers him guidance, believing he would be a good fit for Sir Night-Eye. After being through a lot together, they now share a very strong bond. Now we have to start talking about the pro heroes, and who better to start with other than the homeroom teacher of Class 1A, Shota Aizawa. Initially doubting Izuku's potential as a hero due to his reckless use of his quirk, he gradually comes to see his determination and talent. Despite often clashing with Izuku's idealism and scolding him for overusing his powers, Aizawa cares deeply for him and trusts him in critical situations, ultimately seeing him as a capable hero and encouraging others to support Izuku during the final battle. Endeavor's views on Izuku evolve significantly throughout the series. Initially, he sees Izuku as a competitor with power reminiscent of All Might's and expresses the importance of Shoto surpassing him. Despite some reluctance to train Izuku, he grows to respect him, especially after Izuku helped save his son Natsuo. During critical moments, Endeavor grapples with his own insecurities, feeling inadequate compared to Izuku's heroism. Ultimately, he acknowledges that Izuku embodies the qualities of a true hero, even admitting to himself that Izuku is a better hero than he is. The number 2 hero Hawks has a deep respect for Izuku, recognizing his strength and heroic spirit. He's impressed by Izuku's skills and bravery, especially after witnessing him defeat Lady Nagant despite being heavily injured. Now let's bring out some tissues and talk about Sir Night-Eye. Initially, he doubts Izuku's worthiness as the inheritor of One for All, viewing All Might's decision to pass it to a quirkless boy as a mistake. However, he becomes impressed by Izuku's field awareness during their training and acknowledges his potential as he recognizes similarities between Izuku and All Might's heroic resolve. By the end, Night-Eye admits that Izuku is indeed worthy of One for All. Gran Torino recognizes Izuku as All Might's worthy successor, praising his potential and quick thinking. Throughout their training, Gran Torino grows to respect Izuku, referring to him as Deku with pride. Even in moments of danger, he protects Izuku and supports him, seeing him as the person who will ultimately save everyone. We now have to talk about All Might, who initially saw Izuku as just a fan, but after witnessing his bravery when he jumps to save Bakugo, All Might recognizes his potential and ultimately decides that Izuku is worthy of inheriting One for All. As a mentor, All Might is consistently impressed by Izuku's determination and growth, treating him almost like a son and developing a deep familial bond with him. He admires Izuku's selflessness and perseverance, often feeling inspired by his dedication to heroism. Ultimately, All Might sees Izuku as the greatest hero ever and couldn't be prouder. We finally reach what the villains think of our beloved hero. So let's start with Himiko Toga. Himiko develops an obsession with Izuku after seeing him injured, viewing him as her ideal, tattered guy. She admires his selflessness and heroism, feeling a strong attraction to him. However, after he expresses that he could never share his heart and mind with someone like her, Toga falls into despair, feeling rejected and abandoning her crush, ultimately deciding to kill him instead. Although her obsession continued, the hero killer Stain respects Izuku for his bravery and strong convictions, viewing him as a true hero for protecting others despite the dangers he faces. He spares Izuku during their initial fight and even risks his life to save him from a Nomu. And Spinner also protects Izuku, declaring him worthy of being called a true hero in Stain's eyes. We have now reached All for One, who views Izuku as his most significant threat and a target to crush in his quest for power. Initially fixated on defeating All Might, he shifts his focus to Izuku after realizing he is the 9th user of One for All. All for One aims to break Izuku's heroic spirit and exploit his predictability to manipulate him, believing he can easily torment the boy. Despite acknowledging Izuku's potential as a formidable opponent, he dismisses him as a worthless boy and a naive idealist. Finally, we reach Tamura Shigaraki. He despises Izuku for being All Might's successor and embodies everything he loathes about heroism. Despite their intense rivalry, Shigaraki develops a strange obsession with Izuku, seeing him as a little brother and a key figure in his quest for destruction. Their confrontations reveal Shigaraki's internal struggle, and he ultimately admits to Izuku that he might just be a hurting child beneath his villainous exterior. So in the end, Shigaraki saw Izuku as his savior and trusts that he will protect everyone. And there you have it, everyone's thoughts about Izuku Midoriya. So now